Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I don't know how you got here, but I do hope that you'll stay until the end of this video because in this particular video, we're going to work on a condominium studio unit here in the Philippines that I have been commissioned for. Okay, so we're back doing this. As I mentioned before, this project is actually finished, and it's actually very normal that clients will ask for some sort of changes, and I don't really enjoy doing it because it kind of destroys the vision. And what ends up happening is like the term here in the Philippines is chop suey, which is a mixture of a bunch of different styles, which kind of defeats the purpose of the whole style you went with in the beginning. I'm not mocking the client or anything. It's actually very normal. It happens way too often, which is why I mentioned in like some of my other videos that most of the time clients don't know what they want. It's a matter of fact. It's not me attacking them or anything, but it's just how it is. I'm already used to it. Like I've never had a project so far where it's like when it's done, it's done. I hope for the best, but yeah, we're still working on this project. It's not a big deal, as long as like I said before, as long as it's not like the exterior of the house. I don't mind making changes, but you can also see here, even if it's like just architectural interiors, there has to be a lot of things that get adjusted because what I designed for my original plan, everything was, you know, everything fit into place because the way I go through my design process is I'm trying to make something that is complete. And with that being said, I try to find a solution for every single problem for that solution or for that design. And for what's happening now is like it's just becoming like I'm trying to find a way to fit in these elements that are not meant for this design. But we're gonna continue trying it. And like I said before, it's not that I'm making fun of clients or anything. It does happen very often. And on my end, as long for architectural interiors, I'm more flexible. But for like the building, if I'm designing the house or the building, I'm less flexible because as much as possible, the reason when I go through my design process, the reason I don't like to make everything concrete in the beginning, I like to get as much input from the client as possible to avoid this kind of situation um, where everything has already been finalized and there's still concerns. And of course, I want to make the client happy. But if they're not happy, we can keep going until a point where I feel that we're not making progress with the design. And it's fine, it's not attacking anybody. It's just simply that's just how the design process works. So, uh, previously, I had to make adjustments to the ceiling because here I had already made all of the cabinets. So these were all final, and if I'm going to make adjustments to them, then of course I would have to ask for a fee. And to avoid more cost to the client, I'm just kind of working around what's already done. And that's kind of like you kind of have to understand you get what you pay for. So I already made a finished product that I felt was good enough. They felt that it could have been changed, it could be done better, and it's cool. It's totally fine with me as long as we're still respecting each other. Then I don't really have a problem with it. But at this point, there's only so much I can do because I already finalized that particular design. So I'm gonna do my best here to implement another revision option. And once again, this isn't mocking the client, but for example, this bed here, I I had offered them a smaller dimension, right? Because in my experience, I already knew that a smaller dimension would work. So what ended up happening is um, it turns out that the client wants the smaller dimension because they realize that they have this existing bed that actually was closer to the dimensions that I was providing in the beginning. And this is like bringing me back to the point, like even though I'm even though as an architect or as a designer, you tell the client, what you know based on your experience. Uh, you can't really expect the client to understand it in your view, Not a big deal, like I said. Um, but we're going to have to adjust this because yeah, they kind of see now that the original dimensions that I was proposing is actually more suitable for them. So right now this is at 1,640 millimeters. So they want to make it 1,400. So the original dimensions that I was suggesting was 1,420. So um, one moment. How does this work? This is 1,640. So we're going to move this by 240, and that'll make it. So like I mentioned, so since there are revisions, what happened was my laptop broke down. So life happens. This is why I don't believe in time management, blah, blah, blah. I provided a discount to make up for that because I did feel bad, like very bad, that I wasn't able to complete it on time. So justifiable. That's fine. Now we're asking for a revision. And even though originally I would have offered a revision for everything, but the thing is, when I'm providing services that are based per item, uh, it's a bit different because as I've mentioned in a previous video, we kind of at the architect's discretion we can kind of make our own prices. What works around what works around the code, what works around the law, what works around known facts about the construction industry, stuff like that. I can kind of summarize what I can charge for this. And so what I did was I charged it per item. So like I have the plan, I have the perspectives, I have the 3D, and that's kind of beneficial to the client because then they don't have to worry about spending as much as if I were to provide full services, which would be like probably times five. But the thing about providing the full services is we can go through these revisions. And the reason that full services, I have to charge like really high for full services is simply because if I give full services, that means I'm full time, you know? So as a client, you should understand that this is my livelihood. So if you can't support me to support you, then we can't really work together, can we? I need to survive in order to do my job, which is why I'm pretty satisfied like working in the corporate industry. I don't really work in the corporate industry. I work more with helping people, I would say. And I'm much more happier with that because at least my job is stable and then it's just regular and I can do my own free thing. I don't like working in design firms that much because my designs all of a sudden are not my designs. And it all depends on you, if as a designer, as an architect, as an engineer, it all depends on your personal preference. You don't have to follow what I say, but this is just how I roll. So anyway, Yeah, so as you can see, this right here makes a big difference because this is just this bed frame. The only sidings were up to here, and this portion is open. So when it comes to um, then we're gonna see if we're gonna or the client will see if they want to close this. So what's gonna happen now is I'm not gonna make the additional working drawings to um, for it's a bigger benefit for my client because then if I was gonna do all the extra drawings, then it would cost more. Um, so what's gonna happen is I'm actually gonna just adjust things, but as I mentioned before, so the contractor, this is the thing like working with, this is why I personally don't like to be the contractor for a project because I feel that if I'm the designer and the contractor, then I'm taking advantage. Like there's a conflict of interest when it comes to the client because then whatever I say goes, you know. Whereas if there's the contractor as a separate entity, then the contractor also has their own say, which can be beneficial to the client, you know. For example, I mean, I'm not saying that this is how all design and construction firms do it, but for example, let's say the contractor made a mistake. Okay. If I was the architect that, you know, is in connection with that contractor, then I would most likely try to defend the contractor, which is not supposed to be, it's not the correct way. As the architect, I'm supposed to be defending the client. So that's what I enjoy about not being part of construction. I'm less biased. I can see the picture, I can see the bigger picture, I can see the client side, I can see the contractor side, and then I can mediate between them. So anyway, yeah, this gets adjusted just like that. Now this one right here, we're also going to adjust this. So it's a bit stressful because this one has a lot of components going on inside of it. This is at 1624, huh? So they want to make this smaller as well. So we're just going to move it. Oh, wait. This should be on the other side, sorry. Now remember, I don't really recommend scaling because the effects of scaling are quicker, but you also don't see the smaller changes, which I'll show you right here. So we're going to scale this here, just the width. And what happens is, as you can see, the width of the timber or the lumber and the wheels change as well, which is something that I don't like doing when I do 3D. So that's why I was saying earlier, when I do something in 3D, it's complete. Like when I encode it, it is complete. I don't want to come back to it. I don't want to, because if I have to come back to it, it's a lot of work. But anyway, so let's go ahead and put this back inside. How come it's, how much is this? 1,500. There we go. Okay, so that kind of reduced the space, right? Now, the reason I had to reduce that also is now we have to move this. And we're going to move this by roughly 100. Okay, see how many things change. Just, it's such a tiny, tiny difference. Like, it's 4 inches, but you see all of these things that have to get moved around because of just these tiny changes, which is what I try to avoid. Like, it's not, this is why it costs more to do. Uh, it should cost, you should be charged if you're asking for revisions. Like, for clients to assume that, revisions are easy. It's not. Especially, like, if you're unlucky and you're, uh, I mean, I don't, it's really hard to say, but there are architects that don't really pay attention to what they do. They just kind of put it there. And if you're an unlucky client and you have one of those architects, then they're not going to pay attention to all these things that just changed. And especially what's worse, if like there's electrical works or plumbing works going through these items that are being moved around, then that's a nightmare. But anyway, we're going to move that. And then, so what else is going to happen is we're going to move this up here. So we have this problem here, right? So this is another issue, which is why I really, as much as possible, I really don't want to change this, but we have to adjust the design. So there. So now, bam, bam. There we go. And then finally, so we're going to remove this here. And we're also going to remove this here. So that is supposed to carry the weight of this up here, but we're going to have to adjust it a bit. 205 plus another 100. Okay, we're going to move this 100 again. So this is 4 inches by 1 inch. Okay, so there we have that. Now we're going to take this, we're going to make it into a component to make things easier for myself. And we're going to move this, and we're going to times that by 10 for now, 11, there we go. Okay, and we're going to get rid of these existing ones right here. Bam, delete. Okay, so this is our new design. Excuse me. Okay, so this is going to go all the way further actually. Just like that. So this is the new proposal, and we're going to get rid of this one because it's a bit further out, just like that. Okay, so it looks cool, right? But to do this is a lot more difficult than it seems. So we have to make it seem seamless, and that's difficult because this is not going to support itself right up here. Something has to be up here to keep it from falling down. So the good news is we have this support here on this side. So we're going to go into forces, motion. What's the other one called? Starts with an E, I think. Forces, motion, and oh no, it starts with an S. Statics. It's not statistics. It sounds like statistics. I think it's statics. Forces, motion, static. Statics. Is it statics? I'm sorry. I haven't reviewed my math that well. I'm still. Talk to me about algebra. We can get further. But the idea of it basically is we have support going up here. Okay. Um, let's look at it here. Oh no. Wait a minute. I have to change the thickness of this as well. 75. So lower by 25. Yeah. So let's look at this in a mathematical way. We need to support this other side. So what happened is we got rid of the two arbors, I believe they're called, that are supporting these trellis from being attached to the ceiling by these rods, right? So what happens is we have these two arbors. They're catching the trellises and they're supporting them up there, right? So now, in this instance, we actually don't need this side anymore, because what happens is this side is already planted to the ground. So that means the force is just, resting on top of that. So there's no more problem there. And this will be fixed onto the back of this cabinet. And another problem here is that this has to be attached to the floor. So this is another issue that I really, really stresses me out. So what we're going to do here is 25, all right? We need to have something here to attach it to the floor, and that will um, kind of make it easier to place. So we'll have this right here, okay? And the reason we have this is what's going to attach all of these portions, all of these slats. So if it's vertical, it's a slat, and then if it's vertical, we call it a wall slat. So this side is actually slatted wall, or if you'd like, and these we can call trellises, okay? We need all of these like connected to the ground, and we can't connect it properly to the ground if we're going to do them each individually. So we're going to connect them to just one piece of lumber, and then connect that lumber to the floor, and that'll make it more secure. All right, now we just have this other side to deal with, and we want to make it seamless. So what's going to happen is at least we have this support here, right? Uh, the most layman's term is post and lintel, but we need something to support it on the other side as well. And I don't want to connect it to the wall because that makes it too rigid. So to make it a bit more fluid, we're going to have this space here on the side. So that means we need to catch it up here. And I don't want to have anything connecting here between it. So how are we going to do that then? So it's either we're going to have a rod, an individual rod for each item, or we're going to have one piece of timber or lumber going across the top, or we're going to lower the ceiling so that it just is flat on the ceiling, and I don't like that option. So the best option I would probably think is just having a rod for each one. Now, to be honest, I'm not going to really put that detail in. I'm going to allow the contractor to figure it out, and then they can just consult me if they want some sort of solution, because it's a bit of a hassle to do it here myself. So there we have it. Let's go back to scene 5. Bam, right there. So that's what it looks like now. And it's actually quite interesting, right? Bam, we'll move this here, 10,000. Back to scene 5. Bam. So that's what it looks like now. Okay? Okay. Now what we're gonna do is I propose that because originally they had that kind of there was kind of a mixture of industrialism, especially with the Nordic chandelier, I believe it's called. I keep forgetting what it's called. To be honest, I don't really enjoy using those kind of chandeliers. That's why I don't really remember it. But if it matches the design, then why not? But in this case, so there's kind of this situation where they want to have a ceiling fan, and it's a bit of the thing about ceiling fans is that you have to get a commercial one. It's gonna cost way too much to get a customized one, and you have to have an expert that knows how to make them. So, and this with the case that I have right here with this kind of ceiling, it's not gonna be that easy to install. My advice was they can have a ceiling fan here in their bed space, but that's another thing is I don't know how big that ceiling fan is going to be. So what I recommended is that um, we do some canvassing. So of course that would require me to accompany them to like hardware stores and whatnot to see what kind of electric ceiling fan would work for them. And then we'd have to adjust this, which is very difficult because, of course, like I mentioned before, we don't have this support. Um, so hopefully they don't push for that because I really don't recommend it. It's too, uh, if we're going to use the term again, chop suey. It's getting way too chop suey. And we just kind of have to work with what we got here. Now, let's go ahead and let me find something. One moment. Let's go. Let me just look through my catalog here. So for the lighting, I'm kind of suggesting just to use pendant lights, something with an earthy feel, because these slatted walls and ceiling trellises, they really do have somewhat of an earthy feel. So we're just gonna look for something with an earthy feel, and you can't see what I'm doing. I'm sorry. My files are my files. One moment. Let me just open a file with some pendant lights. Um, so I'm thinking like something that's very wabi-sabi. Wabi-sabi or wabi-sabu, I'm not quite sure. Um, this right here, you'll see it in a moment. Come on, open. There we go. Okay. All right, we'll take that. We'll put it here. Excuse me. Just like that. Okay. So now 1,000, 10,000. So this is the kind of ceiling light that I'm kind of suggesting for them. Let's line it up first with the ceiling. Oh my gosh. All right, and let me see if I can get the center here, which I cannot. This is difficult. Okay, having trouble getting the center. There we go. Okay, now we got the center. Let's see if I can count this. How many do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we're looking for lucky number 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Bam, right here in the center. Okay. And we're going to center that as well here. Bam. Okay, nice. Now we're going to move one here. Whoops, there we go. How far do we want it? Let's say 550. Okay. The other one, 550. Nice. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and move these. Or sorry, now we're going to move one of these actually. We're going to move one of these way over here. Oh, sorry. Somewhere around here. Yeah. Okay. Maybe that's too much. Let's try that again. Let's move it 1, 2, 3. Did I move it 3 on the first time? All right, one more time. Let's move it 2. 1, 2. We have to get the right feel, guys. Get these. Okay, and we're gonna try to get these in the center. So how far is this here from here? 125, so that's a bit difficult. 62.5. Bam, right in the center. Okay, good job, good job. This one I'm gonna move it a bit over here, 100 maybe. Yeah, that's fine. And you, another 100 perhaps. Okay, now let's move it again, maybe right there. And then we're gonna copy them and move them somewhere over here. That looks fine. Okay, let's see how it looks, guys. Let's see. They seem a bit low, don't they? And then, for some reason, it left the light bulb. Okay, I'll just delete that. Shucks. Okay, let's move this up. Maybe here. 250, yeah. And this one, we'll move it up. 350. You know what else would be cool if actually, if we could just use like Christmas lights or something, that would be nice, but I don't know. It's up to the client, really. Okay. Let's go ahead and make you somewhere around, let's go 350 as well. And for you, we'll go somewhere around 220, 200. Yeah, something like that. We have to make sure they don't hit their heads on these things because they're low. They are low. Okay, come on. 1,768. That's a bit low. Let's try raising them all by 50. Okay. Raise that by 50. Raise this by 50. Right. Raise this one by 50. And raise this one by 50, just so we can get it somewhere near 1,800, so that it's a bit high. Okay. So there, something like that. That's that effect. Okay. Let me just see. It's like it's missing something, I know. Let's try moving one of these here. Let's try to make them 5. All right. So we want 550, I guess. And we'll move this one somewhere around there. Let me see here. How far is this? 1,100. 550, so that's right. 550. Yeah, that's right. Don't worry about it. Okay. Let's go ahead and move these two a bit further out. One more. Yeah, so we have a good spread. And this one, we'll drop it by maybe, I don't know, 100. Maybe another 50. Oops, sorry. 50. Something like that, I think. That should do fine. Oh shoot, my bad. 5,000. Okay, so now we have this here. Bam. That's what it looks like now. Very earthy, if you ask me. It's a bit more interesting. Um, let's look at them from a different scene. 2, 3, 4. Now, if this is too earthy, we can go a bit modern also. We can just put pin lights, and pin lights will just go through it. So it's not a big deal because after all, they're just slats. Um, this view is kind of bad though because I don't see all the jars. But it's also kind of difficult because, yeah. Let's go somewhere here. And let's try to step all the way back. Ooh, shucks. Oh no. Got stuck in the wall. Come on, out of the wall. Something like that, just like that. So let's go ahead and make another scene here. One thing I forgot to do, let's make that into a 2-point perspective. There. So let's go ahead and save that before something bad happens. Save. And we're going to add a scene. Scene 6. Okay. I feel like this is way too high. Maybe we can make it lower. 200. Yeah, that's more dynamic, I think. Okay, so this is the new option that we're going to propose. In the bedroom, they're just going to have some extra pin lights, so it's not much of a big problem. And here we have, yeah, it's a whole new look. It's very different from what I originally envisioned, but this does look a bit cleaner at least. Then if we go to the other side, can't really see everything because, you know, let's try to back up. Okay, we backed up too much. Yeah, we got into a wall. Come on. Come on. Ugh, shucks. Come on. Something like that. Camera, 2-point perspective. It's really hard to see. It would be nice if they could put like even plastic vines at least to give it a more earthy feel. I feel like a dark green would work well with this actually. But anyway, let's go ahead and just add that scene there. Yeah, we're gonna have this as the next revision. Um, then also over here, just so they can see what it looks like from the bedroom. It's kind of like a bird cage, actually, isn't it? Quite. Oh my gosh, how did I go through the wall? Um, where is it? You have to kind of be careful with this kind of design also because it can kind of feel like a bit like you're inside of a jail, which is something we don't want to happen. But yeah, it's pretty nice, I think. hmm Camera, 2-point perspective. Okay, we're gonna add this as well. Scene 8. Perfect. Just so they know what it looks like. So here you can see that we have the light switch is kind of got trapped here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and rotate this bad boy. Just turn it 90 degrees. No problem. And what can happen is the wire will just go up through this here since, well, that's one of the other things as well. This doesn't go to the ceiling, so it's kind of going to be hard to hide it, but, or actually it can just go to the wall. Yeah, it'll have to go through the wall because it has to be here though, because if I make it further away, imagine you have to crawl on the bed just, or you have to go all the way over here just to turn on those lights when you can just be right here to turn it on. You know what I mean? So anyway, yeah, so that will be our new design. This revision will probably be, hopefully be the last, because it's the more we revise it, the more difficult it's going to be, to be honest. But it's not that bad. Anyway, we're gonna end this video here. I am sleepy. I've had so many days or so many hours of work right now, and I'm living off of like fumes. But I do hope that you enjoyed watching. I hope that I gave you some insight on what it's like to work on a project. Um, Actually, the bed is on its way to being constructed as we speak, so that's nice. And anyway, yeah, so always take care, everybody. I hope we can always better ourselves. And until next time, bye bye.